Let's look at this one. CDOT held a forum this week to review with potential contractors the $1.2 billion I-70 project in North Denver. CDOT is looking to bridge a $90 million funding gap with possibly a public-private partnership. Penn, we talked about this issue a couple times, and not really getting into the details of the contractors here, but the fact that we're not hearing a lot about this whole plan of the potential of going through 270 and 76 around the entire area and just going straight to contractors. Does CDOT consider that not off the table?
You know, it's an interesting conversation because when you hear this group, this United North Neighbors, they're becoming more and more sophisticated in their messaging, and I think they're reaching a broader audience. I often go to various events downtown and get with some of the downtown folks, and more people are talking about the point they're raising. And often what you hear is, number one, why won't the city meet with this group? And number two, why won't CDOT meet with this group? And someone the other day likened it to the whole issue CDOT had with US 36 when they started doing the P3 and people felt there wasn't enough public discourse and meeting. And I think if CDOT's not careful, they may be accused of repeating the error of US 36. I think the neighbors raise a good point. I think that the chorus is growing and more people want to see a comprehensive conversation about that bypass option rather than just undergrounding I-70 through the Swansea, Elyria, and Globeville neighborhoods. And so meeting with contractors is all well and good. You need to start getting a sense of how the project's got to be funded and what it'll cost and what it'll take. But I think it's a mistake to ignore these neighbors because I think they're beginning to turn public sentiment. And frankly, having Dennis Gallagher help champion some of their issues has not been a bad move on their part either.
Patty, what do you think? Should CDOT at least look a little bit more open that there's anything but just the big dig, well, not the official big dig from Boston, but big dig-esque here in Denver?
Well, you know, CDOT has said they've explored that, and the city, which has put itself, which is behind now the unburied project, has said they've kind of looked at it, but what we haven't really looked at is what it would cost if you could get a public-private partnership involved, which is now being looked at as the savior for the current plan, you know, the platforms and the caps. So if CDOT wants to keep people happy through what is going to be a torturous project, even if it works out smoothly, it's going to be years, it's going to be hugely expensive, they have to have a much more transparent and understandable rationale for why their solution is the best way to go. Because every time you think about the detour, you know, taking it around this part of town, you think maybe that does make sense, and they've never really put out the numbers in a way that's convincing.
David, what do you think? Should we be hearing about more of this other plan, or how should CDOT be handling this issue?
I would agree with Penn that listening to the neighbors is an important and essential thing to do, and in fact far more so than on US 36, because there the construction doesn't harm any neighborhoods. People can argue on the policy of that, but as the construction's going on, it hasn't, like, say, shut down Louisville or Broomfield or anything like that. In contrast, they're replacing a bridge on I-70 that crosses over I-70 at Colorado Springs. It was supposed to be done by December. It's still not done. According to the people of Idaho Springs, that's had a catastrophic economic impact on that city. CDOT has its reasons why it's taken so long, but that's just replacing one bridge. Now, you look at what would be involved in this huge project, how that could impact neighborhoods drastically. It's really important to get all the people at the table and let them express their views.
Craig, you have the last word.
I don't know why it's so important to me, but I'm a member of the Colorado Traveling Public, and among the reasons that I love Colorado over a lot of other states is we don't have toll roads. So whatever you do, don't put a toll on driving down I-70 through Denver, through Commerce City, or anywhere. And then next, you got to worry about safety. You know, this big dig, there are safety implications. So you want to be safe while you're driving. So do it efficiently, in the most inexpensive way, and with safety in mind.